The crystalline halls of the Galactic Council had never witnessed such silence. Ambassador Vexithari of the Zalarian Empire shifted uncomfortably in her biosuit, her 6 eyes darting between the empty human delegation seats and the massive viewport, showing Earth's fleet disappearing into hyperspace. The red emergency lighting cast an ominous glow across the chamber where representatives from 47 species sat in stunned disbelief. "They actually left," whispered Prime Counselor Korath, his reptilian features pale beneath his ceremonial scales. "After everything we offered them." The negotiations had been ongoing for 3 standard months. The Terran Colonial War, as the galaxy had termed it, had raged for 5 years across 17 star systems. What had begun as a simple territorial dispute over mining rights in the Kepler sector had escalated beyond anyone's imagination. Humanity, the galaxy's youngest spacefaring species, had proven far more tenacious than anticipated. Fleet Admiral Chen Wei had sat at the negotiation table with the patience of stone, her weathered face betraying nothing as species after species detailed their generous terms. The Zalarians offered humanity 12 systems in the Outer Rim, barren worlds with minimal resources. The Korthak Federation proposed a protectorate status, placing human colonies under benevolent guidance. The Hive Mind Collective suggested integration, where humans would benefit from shared consciousness. Each offer was met with the same response: unacceptable. Ambassador Vexithari had been particularly condescending during the final session. "You must understand, Admiral Chen, humanity is simply too young, too volatile for full autonomy. We've seen species like yours before, aggressive, emotional, unpredictable. The galaxy requires stability." Admiral Chen had stood slowly, her delegation rising with her. "We came here in good faith, seeking only recognition of our right to exist freely among the stars. Instead, we find a council that views us as children to be managed, or pets to be contained." "That's not—" Vexithari had begun. "We're done here." Chen's words cut through the chamber like a blade. "When you're ready to treat us as equals, you know where to find us." That had been 6 months ago. Now, as emergency klaxons wailed across the Zalarian homeworld of Vextar Prime, Ambassador Vexithari finally understood the magnitude of their miscalculation. The communication array crackled with desperate transmissions from across the galaxy. "Human fleets have severed all major trade routes. The Sol defense grid has gone active. Nothing gets in or out. They've weaponized their asteroid mining platforms. My God, the firepower!" The galaxy had made a fundamental error. They had judged humanity by their brief spacefaring history, not their millennial history of warfare. They had seen humans as the youngest species in the galactic community and assumed inexperience. They had not considered that humans were the only species to achieve spaceflight while actively at war with themselves. Prime Counselor Korath's aide rushed into the chamber, his face ashen. "Sir, we're receiving reports from all sectors. Human forces have simultaneously struck 17 different systems. They're not trying to conquer. They're isolating us." The strategy was becoming clear. Humanity had walked away from the peace talks not in defeat, but in preparation. While the galaxy had spent months debating how to divide human space among themselves, humanity had been positioning assets, forming alliances with disenfranchised species, and studying their opponents' weaknesses. Admiral Chen's face appeared. On the chamber's main screen, her image being broadcast across every major communications network in the galaxy. Behind her, the blue marble of Earth turned slowly, no longer the primitive world the galaxy had dismissed, but the heart of a growing storm. "People of the galaxy," Chen began, her voice steady and controlled. "For months, your leaders have gathered to decide our fate. They offered us scraps and called it generosity. They offered us chains and called it protection. They fundamentally misunderstood what it means to be human." She paused, her eyes seeming to look directly at each viewer. "We didn't walk out of those peace talks because we were angry, though we were. We didn't leave because we were hurt, though we were. We left because we realized something your leaders never considered. Peace was never really on the table." The transmission showed split screens of human fleets maintaining positions around key systems, not attacking, but clearly in control. Every major hyperlane in the galaxy now has a human presence. Every trade route, every supply line, every communication relay, all monitored by Terran forces. We're not your enemies, but we're no longer asking for permission to exist. Ambassador. Vexthari felt her biosuit's environmental system struggle to compensate for her species' stress response. The humans hadn't just walked out of negotiations. They had used those 3 months to study every species' military capabilities, trade dependencies, and political weaknesses. However, Admiral Chen continued, "We're not unreasonable. New. Negotiations can begin immediately with one simple condition. We meet as equals. No protectorates, no integration, no management, recognition of human sovereignty over our claimed territories, and a seat on the Galactic Council with full voting rights." The chamber erupted in desperate whispers and panicked communications. The galaxy's economy was already showing signs of strain after just 6 hours of human blockades. Their youngest member had outmaneuvered them completely. Prime Counselor Korath stood on shaking legs. "Prepare a response," he commanded his aide. Tell them we accept their terms." Admiral Chen smiled, and for the first time since the conflict began, it reached her eyes. "We thought you might see reason. Peace talks will resume in 72 hours aboard the neutral station Harmony 1. This time, we'll have much more to discuss." As the transmission ended, Ambassador Vexthari stared at the empty space where Earth's image had been. The galaxy's youngest species had just taught its oldest a lesson about the difference between age and wisdom, between size and strength, and between talking about peace and actually wanting it. Humanity had walked out of peace talks as supplicants and returned as equals. The galaxy would never make the mistake of underestimating them again.